Welcome to Key Digital University. Today, we're going to learn all about the AV over IP integration tools. Let's take a look.
Now that you are familiar with Key Digital's enterprise AV over IP product family, the unique offerings of each, and the ability to mix and match or not mix and match within the systems, let's look at the commonalities of the system. How does AV over IP work? Well, as you've already deduced, AV over IP uses a network switch as the backbone, essentially creating a video matrix or working in place of a video matrix. You could create expandable systems by adding encoders, decoders, and we have specific verified network switches that you can use their fiber link ports to go beyond one network port, 48 port maximum switch size. Any size, just add an encoder or transmitter per source, decoder or receiver per display, and you can build your large system where you just need a single wire to each source and display, encoder, decoder, transmit, receiver, whatever you would like to call it. How it works is using multicasting. So you might be familiar with multicasting. It's a way that each encoder, basically each video source goes into an encoder. That encoder then broadcasts that signal throughout the entire network, and IGMP is the Internet Grouping Management Protocol, the traffic police, if you will, that determines and ensures that broadcast only goes to its intended recipients, so as to ensure there's not additional problems occurring by sending a video over IP feed to something like a printer on your network. That's the IGMP, Internet Grouping Management Protocol, responsible for that. When you're using enterprise AV over IP, we don't require anything larger than a gigabit network switch. Unless you're stacking the network switches, then the fiber ports will have specific requirements. And when you're using the 4K system, that's your 822, 922, and 1022 models, you need a jumbo frame feature of at least 8K. And of course, you got to refer to the Verified Network Switches guide on our website to find out the supported network switches. We have, at this moment, over 10 manufacturer partners. So the IP 822, 922s, and 1022s are using Motion JPEG 2000 as the compression. That is a very minimal compression, but it results in a high bandwidth. If you're doing 4K, it's going to be 900 megabits per second, 850 to 900. 1080p is going to be a bandwidth of about 250 megabits per second. But because it is a low compression, that also results in low latency, about 40 milliseconds. They support PoE power, less than 9 watts per unit, and they do require Cat6 cable as a minimum. So you cannot install this into existing installs that are running using Cat5 or Cat5e. However, if that's what you've got, then that's going to be an ideal opportunity for our IP 1080 system using H.264 compression technology. That is a high compression resulting in a low bandwidth, but also resulting in a high latency of approximately 400 milliseconds at 1080p. That's definitely going to be a design consideration. If you're using this system in a sports bar, for example, you would need there's design considerations. You can work with our system design group to ensure that you're not just feeding directly out of your video sources, HDMI sources, using the audio outputs directly in your amplifier, because then what would happen is your audio would arrive before your video. Now this product again can use 5E cabling, and it is very minimal power draw, less than 6 watts per unit. So with most PoE supported network switches, if even by using all 48 ports using PoE with the IP 1080s or the IP 822.922s or 1022s, you're not going to exceed your PoE allotment for that system. So it's very important to consider now that you must calculate bandwidth if you are going to have a system that is going to go into multiple switches. You could have multiple switches because you have more than 48 total devices. Perhaps you require multiple switches because of the home runs of your system are leading to 2 different locations. Then you need a fiber to connect those 2 network switches. Now, so how do you calculate especially for your 822, 922, 1022 systems, the required bandwidth for that fiber? Well, remember that each 4K source is outputting at approximately 850 to 900 megabits per second. We call it 900 because we're rounding up, but it's really 850. 1080p, 250 megabits per second, and 1080i 720p at 125 megabits per second. Currently, that is not a flexible rate for us. It's not something that we allow you to choose the compression level, sacrificing video quality for lower bandwidth with our systems. So if we look here and we have 3 4K sources at 850 megabits each, now you're looking at 2.5 gigabits. 3 more HD sources, 1080p, 750 megabits. So let's call it 3.5 rounding up, meaning you're going to require a 10G fiber link for that system. We have at this moment 10 verified network switch partners, but there are specific models within those manufacturers. It's not a blanket statement, but you could refer to our verified network switches guide on every product page for any of our video over IP product line. You'll see in the download section, and you could refer to that guide to learn how to configure that network switch to ensure that it is prepared for your installation with your Key Digital's Enterprise AV over IP. Now we also have, and this is very exciting for you integrators who've not done this before, a configuration questionnaire on every product page, the 922s, 822s, 1022s, and the IP 1080s. And we're going to ask you for the friendly name of your video sources and displays, and we're going to ask you to provide us 2 IP addresses. Each 822, 922, 1022 acts as 2 computers on your network, even though it only utilizes one LAN port, or one network port. You don't have to connect both wires. So there's basically over one wire, 2 IP addresses. One is for the video broadcast, and the other is for that compass control communication that we described in a previous video, or throughout these videos, I should say. So 2 IP addresses and the friendly name, and we will actually set up this system in Key Digital's laboratories. Now, I'll show you more about that in a moment. Setup is done using Key Digital Management Software Pro, which is a free software. But again, we're going to do this in-house. You don't have to worry about this as of right now. It's done via USB with the IP 922s, via the network port with the IP 1080s. And we're able to pre-configure those systems for you so that you, providing us that information, are going to have a turnkey solution, essentially removing days in many cases of time and resources, all handled at Key Digital. We not only configure the systems, we pre-verify through age testing to ensure you don't have any RMAs on hand when you receive the products, and to ensure that this is working how your customer requires it. So again, we set it up with Key Digital Management Software Pro, KDMS Pro. We're able to define the virtual matrix, setting up units, but then adding or creating a matrix system out of them to create one large system. And then we have a PC control software, KDMS User, where on the, or KDMS I should say, where on a PC your AV IT departments can manage that video routing, and they see the friendly names of those inputs and outputs. We also have the Key Digital app. So this is an iPad, iPhone, any iOS device where you see those friendly names. You can create presets even with this free app. And with your video walls, you even have the ability to just drag your finger and manage the layout of your video wall. It's a very, very cool feature, very user-friendly, and you can even have video preview on IP 1080 and IP 822, 922, 1022 systems.